Hi guys, so today we're going to be going through how to 3D print using the Asiga platform. So first we're going to upload our Asiga Composer and we're going to go through these 3 buttons that appear when you first open it. So first, the one on the left is going to be a brand new build. So this is just going to open the empty build and then you can upload any files you want to add to it. And then this one, you're going to be able to search through your folders on your computer. And then this last one, you can look through all of your past builds that you have already worked through on this desktop. For this one, we're going to be using the new build. So after we selected our new build, this window is going to come up, and on the top of the window, you can see that our printer is already loaded in here, our Asiga Ultra. And if you don't see your printer, you can go up to here and click Add Printer and then enter the specific IP address of your printer and it would load it in. And then next, we're going to go down to Material and select what resin we're going to be using for this project. For what we're doing, we're going to be using the Dentist Study. But if you don't see your resin in here, you can go down to Materials Settings and open the library and find what you're looking for. Next, we're going to go into Layer Thickness, and we use 50 microns because that is the most universal for all dental projects. There's also a couple other different options in here. And then lastly, you pick your tray. We're using Endurance because that is the most common used and it fits most projects. Okay, so once you have all of your specifications in, you're gonna go ahead and click OK. And then this is gonna load in your Asiga platform. And then on the left-hand side with the cube with the plus, we can add our parts in. So we're going to click that and then click Select Files. We're just gonna use this file at the top and then select Open. And then in here, you can change the orientation, any supports that you need, and then the placement, which we're just gonna use auto place. There's a couple different options. And then you can also change the quantity. So you could add 2 or 3, we can show 2 for now. And then you're gonna click open. And then once you do that, it's gonna load onto your platform. And something that's really cool about this is that you can also choose perspectives. So we have a couple different ones. We have that one, we have a top view, and then we have 2 different side views as well, just to double check that everything is fitting right. So the next step in the process would be generating supports for your project. In this case, we don't necessarily need it, but I'm gonna walk you through it just to show you how it would work. So on the left-hand side here, there's gonna be the middle button that has a cube with 2 triangles. You're gonna click that. And normally it would not show this window. It's going to look like this. And if you want to change, so there's 3 different settings. There's default, flexible, or lattice. But if you wanted to go in and manually change these, you're going to click advanced. And in here, you can select different settings. You can look through these and change them. And let's say we use lattice and we have that. We can either click save. So this applies to projects in the future. Or we could just click apply towards our project and then make sure you select what you want to have the supports on. So we're going to use just this one. And then we're going to click apply. And then it's going to take a second to load. Okay, and then once that loads in, I'm going to show you the difference between with supports and then without supports. So on the left-hand side, you can see that there are supports. And then on the right-hand side, you can see that there aren't. And then here is that back view and how that's gonna look. Okay, so now that we have gone through all of those steps, we are now ready to print. So we're going to select this button on the left-hand side at the bottom, and it says print. And then in here, it's gonna ask you to build for your build name. So we're gonna just put test. And then you can go down and we wanna select fast print mode. And this is already selected, but basically what this does is allows your 3D printing to print faster, but it doesn't affect the quality of the print. And then once we have that selected, we're gonna click next, and it'll also tell you the estimated build time down here. And then it's gonna give us this warning, and it says that 2 parts do not have support structures and may fail during the build. This is not a problem for us because our build does not need support, but in other cases they might. And then lastly, there's this option to do base plate configuration, which basically will help you take off your 3D printed object easier from the plate, but we don't need that either. And then as you head down, then you click print. Okay, after we have put everything in, we are going to go ahead and click print. And while it loads, it's actually going to start slicing our STL file into 50 microns per slice. And then after it's done, we're going to click view slices, and then it's going to show us our build, and we can see what it looks like as it goes on. So we can move this down, and it shows how it changes depending on how far it is into the build. So once we have sent our project to the printer, we're going to go up here to the top left corner, and we're going to click Open Printer Web Interface. It's going to basically show you what you would see on the front screen of your Asiga printer. So here we can see the front screen, and from here we can basically start the printing process. So we can click Build Queue, and then scroll down to our project, which it might take a second to load as well. But here, this is our test. We can click that, and then it's going to show us our view, again, what we would see on the printer if you were to do this in person. And then we can just click print and skip this, and then start the process.
Today for our printing project, we're going to be using the Asiga Ultra. A really cool feature about it is that it has a touch-free opening system. Now, first step is we have to clean it off and make sure there's no leftover resin. We're going to take some IP alcohol and a microfiber cloth. Let's spray some on there. First, we're going to clean the glass. Okay, looks good. Next, let's take the platform and we're going to clean it off as well. Okay, looks perfect. Let's set it back onto the printer. And a really cool feature about this platform is that it has a magnetic hold. Next, we're going to put on the tray with the resin in it to get on to the next step of the printing process.
So now that we've cleaned off our printer, we are going to go ahead and load in our tray. We're going to be using the Asiga Dentistry resin and our Asiga Endurance tray. And we're using our Endurance tray because this one is most compatible with a lot of different printing jobs. So we're going to get our tray, and then we are going to grab a spatula and just mix it around to make sure that it's all combined. We don't want it to be separated for when it goes to print. Make sure it's mixed all well. And then we are going to load this tray in. And then just make sure that it feels locked in. And then once it feels like it's in, you're going to push these two over and lock it in. So now that we've loaded in our Asiga Endurance tray and our resin, we're gonna go ahead and close this. And then once this is all closed, we're gonna go through the screen and just pick our project. So first we're gonna press Build Queue, and then we're going to scroll down to find our what we're printing, and that's going to be our business card final. And then once we check this, it's going to say who it's submitted by, what material we're using, and the estimated time, which is 53 minutes. And then we're going to click print. Skip this because everything is good. And then it's going to start printing. Okay, so our projects are finally done printing. So what we're going to do is we're going to open this up and take off the platform. So we're going to pull off the platform. And then we are going to open up our tray and basically use a spatula to try to scrape off what we 3D printed. So we're going to take the spatula to the corner of our project, and we're going to push down really hard while also holding and pushing down with our left hand on the handle. There's one, and then you do the exact same thing to the other one.
Now that we have everything off the platform, we're going to put it in to get washed. This first wash is going to get off a majority of the resin, and then we're going to put it in the second wash just for one final clean. So we're going to take this box off, and it's already set for 5 minutes, which is perfect. And we're going to grab our project and drop it in. Perfect. And now all we have to do is click the button, and it's getting started. Then we're going to do the same thing in this second wash. While we're waiting for it to wash, we're going to clean off our platform. We're going to take the alcohol solution again and some paper towels. You definitely need a lot to get all the resin off. We're going to start wiping. This may take a couple of rinses to get it all off. Perfect.
So after we've washed and dried our project, it is now ready for curing. In this specific one, we are going to be using nitrogen gas. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up our flash curer, and then we're going to load our cards into this tray and then put it inside. And then we're going to make sure for this one that it is switched up to activate the nitrogen. And then for our dentist study, this one requires 2,000 flashes on each side. So we set it to 2,000, and then we're going to press start. And then this is going to basically start pumping the nitrogen in here until there's enough, and then it's going to start flashing. Okay, so now that our project has finished curing, we are going to open it up and take it out. And then we can view our final result.
Thank you so much for following along with us on this process.
Visit our website at articon.com and comment down below what you want to see on our next video.
Thank you.